I'm Vishal from Captain Fresh. So I'll quickly introduce you to what we are. So Captain Fresh is a 2019 born startup. We have raised almost $250 million till now. We have been backed by one of the best investors in the country. Right, so what we are into, we are a tech-driven global seafood supply chain company. We started with a domestic market. 2019 to 2021-22 exit, we were in domestic market. We do continue to do domestic market. We were doing around from a $3 million per month to now we are almost $1 million per month because we focus majorly on our bottom lines. Yeah. So this is what we do. We are a tech-led distribution company. So we have multiple products. I'll go into that in detail. So we are also into demand penetration across the globe, right? So we have recently acquired a company called Sensi, which is based out of Chicago. Sensi does around $250 to $300 million of shrimp per annum, and we have also acquired a company called Coral, which is into salmon distribution. We have also acquired a company called Semacruz in Europe, which does around $25 to $30 million of cooked shrimp distribution in Europe. We are based out of Bangalore, and we have demand penetration across these countries. So India, we are majorly focused into HoReCa and large retail segments. And obviously in Europe, we also serve to pretty large retail boxes in Europe and US. So these are some of the investors who have backed us. Some of them are pretty well-known names, people who have funded Facebook and Uber. Right? So about myself, I have around 16, 17 years of sales and distribution experience. I am Ahmedabad alumni. I come from a FMCG sales and distribution background. I worked for Unilever, I worked for Britannia, I worked for Nokia. And I have also been an entrepreneur. 2013, I was a co-founder of we were pioneer of a B2B e-commerce marketplace in the country. We had raised almost $7 million. We were called as Shotang. And then Captain Fresh happened. I am a vegetarian. I have never been so close to non-veg in my life, right? I have never even had an egg. But Captain Fresh, yes. So they say once you start selling seafood, you never exit, right? So there's a love that seafood generates. So I have been into retail markets, then an entrepreneur, and with Captain Fresh, I am an entrepreneur. So I'll take quick 2 minutes to say how I look at consumer segment in India, right? So obviously there have been a lot of numbers, so I'll not go into numbers. I'll just talk about how I profile consumers, Indian consumers. See, India's consumption is majorly driven by middle class, right? So they contribute hugely to our economy. So Indian retail market is around $700+ billion. And I think e-commerce like Flipkart, Amazon, obviously Fresh to Home, Licious, they contribute around 7% of Indian market. And it is said that by 2030, Indian e-commerce market would go up to 30% contribution. As of now, GT contributes to around 80-85%, modern trade is around 10%. Right? So what is Indian consumer looking for? Indian consumer looks to stay healthy, right? So earlier, we would consume whatever that came on our table. We are choosy today. We want to ensure that we consume something which keeps us fit. And we don't mind experimenting with global cuisines, right? So thanks to HoReCa segment, so today, whatever global consumes comes on our table, right? So we don't mind experimenting. That's what today's consumers are. 70% of Indian consumer is youth, so they don't mind. So what we look for is affordability, availability, and relevance, right? So convenience is key for us because India has moved into a nuclear family segment. So urban is majorly husband and wife work, we don't have time to cook, right? So most of our food consumption is in Horeca, right? Since India has evolved, Indian consumers are educated, we look for sustainable products. We do try to understand what we are consuming. We try to understand where is it coming from. So we are going back to our roots, right? So food, our previous generation, food was handed over to them. So if you see India, India is majorly divided into 4 different parts: north, east, west, and south. Every region had a different food habits, right? And this was through our ancestors, right? They chose what was right for us. Our generation handed it over to us, but this generation is experimenting. They are going back to their roots. They are trying to explore what is good for health, right? So that's why if you see, India is almost, one of our friend was mentioning, India is almost 70% non-vegetarian today, right? We look for Indianization, right? So even though we experiment with global cuisines, but we want to go back and understand that what is Indian, right? We want to consume Indian. So हमको मसालास अच्छा लगता है, हमें नमक चाहिए, हमें spicy food चाहिए. Pale food is not something that we like to consume. What we have seen, at least what I have seen from my FMCG experience, is price disruption happens only through penetration. जो दिखता है वो बिकता है, right? So if you don't put food on people's table, if you don't put shrimp on retailer's shelf, it won't sell. जितना आप penetrate करोगे, उतना consumer हमें सिखाएंगे price disruption कैसे होना चाहिए, right? So if you take example of cashew nuts, when I was a kid, cashew nut was a luxury, right? I wouldn't see my mom keeping cashew nuts in jar. It would be locked. तो हमें cashew चाहिए तो हमें पूछना पड़ता था, हफ्ते में 2 cashew nuts मिलते थे. आजकल के बच्चों को it is available on table, right? How did that happen? Price disruption has happened due to penetration, right? So if you see our chota mota retail kirana outlet sells 10 rupees cashew nuts in a small packet today, right? So I think shrimp is not different from cashew, other than the cold chain aspect. So obviously e-commerce, B2B e-commerce, digital e-commerce, quick commerce has helped us penetrate consumer markets. It helps us disrupt the traditional distribution models. When I started my career in FMCG, we would divide Indian consumers into rural and urban. Thanks to digital media today, it's no more the same, right? Every content is available on consumers. Thanks to the internet penetration, I think we are one of the world's largest internet penetrated country. What do consumers expect, right, in this digital age? So they expect for traceability. They want to know where their food is coming from. Obviously convenience, I covered it in my previous slide, right? So they want everything at doorstep. They don't have time, right? I am talking about majorly urban consumers. Quality assurance. So whoever is serving them food, they expect them to ensure that quality is taken care of, right? Personalized recommendation thanks to ML and AI. The more and more data is generated, the AI becomes more and more stronger. So it is able to give them personalized recommendations. And obviously role of online marketplaces like our friend here, Fresh to Home, Licious, right? So what kind of tectonic shift that we see? Supply chain efficiencies, right? So we have been able to currently give transparency in supply chain due to our technology products, right? Quality control improvements, obviously we are working on these. So increase in consumer engagement. The consumer is, so the traditional retail doesn't allow consumer to interact with the manufacturer, but thanks to technology, consumer can directly interact with manufacturer today. Manufacturer knows what consumer wants. And role of AI. As I said, AI is all about data. The more and more data gets consumed, the AI becomes better. This is what we are in terms of technology, right? We have something called Fishgram Aqua. We closely work with farmers. So I have been doing a pilot shrimp farming we do in Kakinada, right? So just to ensure that we build a good technology product, I have been wearing farmer hat for last 12 months. So I am trying to understand what shrimp farming is so that we can build a good technology product and take it on farmers' table. While we are building, we are also collaborating with global technology platforms, right? And we have something called Fishgram Marine. We ran a pilot with Vizag tuna fishermen, right? We have built a product which can go on boat where we can know what is when the catch was caught, right? And then we have something called factory as a service for seafood manufacturers. We have implemented this in a couple of shrimp factories in Andhra Pradesh, where we try to give a real-time production inputs, right? One of the challenges that we saw in shrimp processing is you get to know your metrics only after 3 days, right? You don't get to know it in real time. So till it goes and sits in the storage, you don't get to know. But thanks to our technology product, you get to know about it in real time. And then we do have a distribution platform. We have a retail arm called ChopServe, right? So we have SIS units in nature baskets across the country, and we have some units in Dubai as well. Some of the challenges that we faced and we continue to face, and obviously we are learning, is, tech adoption is a barrier, unfortunately. This is majorly from a value chain perspective, right? So what we see is people don't want to invest, right? So they don't realize what tech can bring on table. The manufacturers or the producers, they don't want to invest on platforms which can take them to next level. And everyone wants to build their own ERPs, right? But I think if you look at parallel industries, people have adopted for global technology platforms, right? And then what we have also seen is the industry doesn't believe in going back and educating their people who are part of value chain and supply chain, right? So we feel we need to keep training them so that they are skilled enough to manage technology platforms. And obviously investment in infrastructure. I think one of our member here was mentioning that, see, I have been with Captain Fresh for last 3 years, and I was managing domestic business for Captain Fresh. I did around 25-30 crores per month kind of a revenue. So I have been to all wet markets in India. There is no wet market that I haven't visited, right? I have traveled almost 15-20 days in a month, and I have operated with each and every wholesalers in wet market. I have also been to consumers in West Bengal. I have been to kitchens in West Bengal to understand how people consume roe and katla. But I think infrastructure changes is needed. So unless and until retailers realize what hygiene is, right? And the unfortunate thing about fish is it needs a lot of water, right? Unlike kitchen, unlike mutton, the fish processing retail outlets needs a lot of water. So I think we will have to join hands with government. We'll have to work towards building up a very organized retail sector in the country to ensure that it is up for consumers to try new products. And obviously, as I covered, workforce training. So we call for a collaborative action. We believe no single individual company can change this industry. This industry will need people to join hands, right? So thanks to such kind of forums, which is calling out people to come together, brainstorm, right? Understand the pain points, join their hands together to solve Indian market. So we believe technology integrations, vertical integration, government support specifically, because capital investment is very high, right? So yesterday, Dr. Lal was mentioning about insurance. Since I have been wearing a farmer hat, insurance is almost 30% of shrimp seed cost today, right? Shrimp seed costs 30 paisa, insurance costs 10 paisa. So it cannot be that costly for a farmer to adopt insurance, right? So insurance has to come at a low cost, and there has to be a lot of NBFCs and banks which should help farmer to solve for capital so that farmer can work towards infrastructures. We compare ourselves with Ecuador, we compare ourselves with rest other countries, right? So we can produce more and we can produce for a lower price only if we work towards infrastructure. And consumer education, I think internet is solving for that. See, we were taking examples of NECC, Sunday Oya, Monday, Rose Cow Monday, Dood, Pio glass full, right? So shrimp वैसे नहीं हो सकता है. So shrimp का consumption is not about government ads. Shrimp consumption is food bloggers coming together, right? On Facebook, there has to be a lot of content because today youth are consuming a lot of content through Facebook and Instagram, right? We need to understand today's consumer mindset and we need to create such kind of initiatives, and it doesn't need, so if it was a decade ago, right, if we wanted to create consumer education, I think we were expected to spend around $500 million because ATL and BTL activities would have costed us a lot. Today's consumer के लिए उतना खर्चा करने का जरूरत नहीं है. आप 20-25 करोड़ का budget रखो aside, call for right food bloggers. I think consumer penetration is easy, right? So that's what we should look for. That's how consumer can get educated. And obviously some innovations in the product. Instead of, the product that we are trying to sell, we have seen global consumers who are deep pocket. See, shrimp is a premium category here. Shrimp is a staple in global forum, right? So we cannot be selling shrimp per kg. We will have to understand shrimp को 100 ग्राम में बेचना है, 200 ग्राम में बेचना है, 300 ग्राम में बेचा है. We have to take a smaller steps to ensure that shrimp penetrates in the country, and obviously industry collaboration. Thank you.